So you're a small streamer, and so to put yourself out there, you've purchased a webcam, and you want to make it to where your stream looks nice. So you plug in the webcam, and what do you get? You get some kind of video like a BlackBerry from the early 2000s, or something just absolutely crazy, some kind of ridiculous mess that supposedly the guy at Best Buy told you it's a 1080p camera. This is the one to get. Or you've looked at some reviews on YouTube and they've said, this is the top camera of 2019. Well, let's get into it. Hello everyone, I am your toaster. I stream on Twitch. People have asked me from time to time, how in the world do you get your webcam to look so nice? But no, I'm not using a webcam right now. I'm just like every other guy who puts a video on YouTube. I do a video without actually using the exact camera, but I'm doing what everyone else does. I'm using a DSLR right now because it got to be professional, right? Before we go any further, let's talk about our sponsor. Yeah, forget that. We don't have any sponsors. We're just doing this video just for fun and just because. So, people have asked me before, how on earth do you get the quality out of your webcam? And the truth is this, I have had the luxury of getting some very nice quality out of a Logitech C920 webcam. So I wanted to sit down and I wanted to do a video because I go from stream to stream throughout my community and I see people who have these webcams. They have the same webcam that I do, but yet they're not getting the quality from it that they should. So I wrote up a list of things to go over in this video. Yeah, we won't need that. That was my shopping list. Number one, Logitech's settings and software is crap. That's one of the main things that you need to know about a Logitech webcam. From the time that you start your computer, when you download the software, it may crash your computer. Or when you start out running the camera, it will show it as in a default 4:3 ratio, and it actually looks blue. You wonder if you came out of the movie Avatar. That's a really old reference. I don't know why I thought of that. But you wonder why it's so jacked up. Number two, don't buy a green screen. Just don't. And I'll explain why in a minute. And number three, never, ever, ever, for any reason, use the background replacement technology that Logitech has. And I guess there actually is a number four, and that is also a never, but I assume that everyone knows, don't use the webcam's microphone. Some people do have to use this for work and other things, but no one streaming will actually use a webcam microphone. At least I hope not. So going back to the first thing, my statement, Logitech settings are crap. So when you first plug in your Logitech, what you're going to notice right off the bat is you're going to get an absolutely fantastic 4:3 ratio in your OBS, XSplit, or Streamlabs OBS, straight from the 1990s. Whatever. It's an absolute horrendous frame rate as well. Everything looks just too bright or too dark, and you look blue. First of all, go into your streaming software, and you need to set your resolution as a custom resolution. Whatever you do, do not set it as default. I would recommend that you go ahead and you set it for 1080. Now, go into your settings and deselect every auto setting that there is. Now, I've seen people say you have to worry about focus. You worry about focus if you have things that get close to the camera. I don't really care. I've never had a problem with focus myself, but do what you will. I deselect everything that is auto. Deselect the auto exposure, gain, white balance, all of it. The right light, you don't need any of it because all of it will be absolute garbage. One thing that you need to know, the performance of a Logitech webcam seems to revolve a lot of times in its software around the exposure setting. It seems to be that the exposure setting, -5, is the exact exposure setting that will give you your maximum frame rate for your camera. So what you're going to want to do is, first of all, go to your exposure settings, set it for a -5. Look at your display. If your frame rate is looking smooth to where you can wave your hand and you're not getting a jittery or you're not getting a ghosting around your fingers while you wave your hand, then you should be good to go. If you are getting a bit of a ghosting or a bit of to where you move your hand and it's not there, it's like there's, you got a blur, you're something from the past, all this kind of stuff. Just take that little check mark and check it right beside the exposure. Then uncheck, then recheck, then uncheck, then recheck. And do this how many times as it takes to get the correct quality in your OBS. Crazy, right? Well, it works. So once you've got that done, one of the things, if you see that your settings are too dark or too bright, do not mess with the exposure and do not bother with brightness. What you need to do is use the setting for gain. Before you even touching that, make sure that you mess with your white balance. Do not, under any circumstances whatsoever, please never, never, never use the auto white balance feature. You will always come out looking blue, and depending on what shirt you wear or what the background is or whatever, this look is liable to change, which would give you great inconsistency with your stream. And anyone streaming knows that the one thing you don't want is inconsistency. So set your white balance for something that is going to look, your skin tone, your shirt, whatever it may be, to look as close as possible. You can mess with your saturation levels as well. However, I would recommend adjusting your white balance first, get it as close as possible, then mess with your saturation if need be. However, I must warn you this, webcams do not pick up colors like they should. The color green won't pick it up at all. It picks up more of a greenish gray. The color purple, nope, comes out as a blue. So your colors are not right. What it is, webcams do not have the hardware and the capability to pick up a true sense of color like a regular camera would, whether it be a DSLR or a camcorder or whatever you're using. So don't worry so much about the color. The main thing is to make sure that your white balance don't have you looking white or pale or like you're a vampire, even though you may be into Twilight. But Twilight's old now, so nobody's really into that anymore. Next of all, once you've got that down, you're good to go. Well, something else that people tend to do as streamers, we obviously are always looking for the next best thing. One of the first things that I did as a streamer was to want to turn my desk around to where my back was facing the wall because I didn't want anybody to see the room around me. Wrong. That's not a good idea. It's never a good idea. Why? Because no one wants to be looking at a blank wall. Well, you may say, well, I plan to get a green screen. Okay, but the reality is green screens, the whole idea and quality behind the green screen is that movies are created on green screens. They look fantastic. They look great. However, you're not going to get that with a webcam. So what I recommend is something that you see with a lot of your big streamers out there. Turn your computer desk around and actually show the background. There are a couple of tips, and there's a couple of reasons why to do this. For one, if you have your desk turned around to where your back is facing the wall, you've got no room to walk around in your room unless you just have a massive home, in which case you're not watching this video anyway because you're doing something else. I have had several friends who've turned their computers around and have had animals or children or themselves walk behind and accidentally trip over their wires and crash. Down goes their monitor. And now you're out another $160 because you didn't want somebody to see your unmade up bed or whatever it is in the background. Give people something to see. They want to see something with depth. Now, if to you it looks plain and it looks washed out, I have a couple of hints. And this is where we really delve into the quality, which is where I get from mine. Number one, buy you a or more than one or two lights. Now, of course, this is something that you hear from people a lot. That you always talk about lighting. Alpha Gaming, the stream doctor, is always talking about good lighting, and it is a very important thing. However, the biggest mistake that a lot of people make is to go out and buy a large softbox lighting, which does two things. For one, it causes you to have to pull your desk away. It takes up a massive amount of space above your desk, and it's really bright, and it's right in your face, and it actually gives you it lights you up, but it gives you a washed out look. And the truth is, no one wants to see that. I have gotten major compliments about my webcam by doing one thing and one thing only, and that is I've set up my lighting to create a dynamic effect. This is how I do it. There are 3 sets of lights that I have available in my scene. I have what is called a key light. A key light is the main light that is the brightest light as well, that typically you should put about a 45-degree angle to the side of your face in front of the camera. What that does is it casts the light across your face, creating some shadows, creating the shape of your face, accentuating your features, and just bringing you making you look more real and not washed out for the camera. The next thing that I have, if that's not enough, what you can also do is you can also have a backlight, not so bright, behind you. And this backlight is where you can see a bit of light in the hair and on the right side of the face and on the shoulders. And what that's going to do is that's going to bring you out from the background. These are tips that you can learn by looking up some simple videography videos about how to light an interview or a scene or something along these lines. And what that's going to do is that's going to bring you away from the background and give it that effect that you're standing out. Even though a webcam does not have a focus effect like a DSLR or like a camcorder with a nice lens, even though it doesn't have that to actually bring you away and make the background be blurry, you can get that effect by some simple lighting. And then the third set of lighting that I have, and this is why I say, make sure that you let your room be your background. It's not bad. For around $30, you can purchase LED strip lighting that is Wi-Fi controlled, and you can literally put it around the headboard of your bed, around a chair, around a desk, whatever's in your background, you can put it around to accentuate your furniture or whatever is in your background. And it gives it a really nice, clean effect that looks really nice. And obviously with the Wi-Fi controlled, you can change your colors and you can turn it on and off depending on the situation. It's very easy to do. And if you put it behind the furniture, then it's not seen by kids, animals, so on and so forth. So you don't have to worry about that. Once you've done that, you've created an effect that's going to bring you out, and now you've created a presence for your audience on Twitch to be able to see you, to see what you're dealing with. To me, it gives a lot more personal of a note than a green screen or than you turning your desk around and them seeing nothing but a wall. When it comes down to it, people want to see quality. Obviously, we can't afford, not everyone can afford, to go out and buy an expensive camera or an expensive rig or whatever, so we have to learn to make a webcam work. For years, I have used a webcam, and I still continue at times to use a webcam. But I'm able to I've literally done most everything for less than $100 with lighting to make the effect that you see here on this video. Guys, I hope this video has helped you out. For links on some recommended products, or if you have any questions or suggestions, just put them in the comments below. I'll check them out. If you'd like to see another video on some easy tips for a small streamer, let me know. I'm just getting into this, but I see so many times when I look at tips from other streamers, they're typically larger streamers and they have ideas that end up costing you several $100s to actually implement. This is an idea that I do believe that you can do for little to no money whatsoever, and the execution, it is about execution, and it ends up being about quality. Thanks so much for watching this video. Please hit the like button and also subscribe for future videos. Hope you've enjoyed it. Leave a comment below with a thought or with any suggestions. And we'll see you guys whenever we make another one. Later. Alright, I can't do that. I can't watch this. There he is. You dead? I'm gonna take my distance up a bit. Yeah, boy! Did I get that? Did I get that? That's the